Hello everybody, I hope you're having a wonderful evening, and today I would like to go over the XRP price chart. In the past few videos I've been trying new recording software to hopefully find something that'll work and be a little more palatable. So I'm actually using a new computer today, so hopefully we don't have any more problems with the visual or the audio. So from where we last left off with XRP, guys, we had that little head and shoulders that we talked about. We had this thinly traded weekend around Saturday the 6th of this September. And so we have some areas of interest down there. We got this inverted head and shoulders, made target. And then you had this overhead grind line coming down here. Actually, I can just go ahead and extend that a little bit. And that's pretty much where we're at. You know, we got a breakout of this now falling wedge. And now this right here, where we're at right now, would be considered the back test of that breakout. So we're gonna see. We have a big week coming up, guys. You know, everyone on social media is touting. You know, we have some big stuff coming up with the Federal Reserve. So we're gonna go ahead and see what we can end up doing here. I mean, as far as XRP goes, I just want to talk for a second. As far as XRP goes, we're still in this sideways consolidation range, and this is a place of indecision in the middle of this pattern. And so price moves up and down, and like market or liquidity providers like areas like this because they have safety on both sides, and they can accumulate orders whichever they want in indecision, which is where we're at right now, which you can tell structurally the market is in that place. Um, for XRP, we knew back here that we saw the liquidity walls, and I'm gonna pull up a heat map of all the resting XRP orders for you guys again this video. But we saw right here that there was a large absorption of orders at 2.8. Price chopped, and you know, we thought, okay, well, hey, maybe that could be the low right down in there, you know, originally. And then we went ahead and we got another move down here, also seeing large absorption of 2.7. And then price eventually moved away from here, formed this pattern, and you saw a rise. So as far as XRP, the accumulation zones I saw was 2.8 and 2.7 to average in better. And those walls still sit there, you know, like today, and they are holding up price. These walls could be an area of accumulation where if we were to come down, that's where you'd expect to go, around these levels. And you'd expect to take out this thinly traded weekend of the 6th of September, which we also threw off at TVP. So all the price action was clean down from this low, 2.69, around there. So the price action was clean from there all the way up to this level of 2.7973. So that's a flat bottom candle right there on the 15-minute chart. Thinly traded weekend, lots of flat bottoms and tops. And then you got your move away, like we talked about, and here's your bust out the top. So now if we get increasing volatility and we pick up, it is possible we come back into this funnel before we eventually get a nice move up, and then that would be the move where large buy orders could be accumulated into fear right before the price goes. And we've been noticing that different altcoins are lighting up at different times, and that shows market breadth opening, right? And as a liquidity provider, as a market maker, if you want to mask your footprint and you don't want to ring the alarms for algos and momentum driven traders, you're gonna spread out your exposure to these assets, and you're gonna create buy walls in other assets instead. And that's why you see on the 2-hour time frame that there's always seems to be a coin moving, you know, and it's going up a couple percent on the hourly, and that's a rotation for liquidity providers to mask an overall accumulation. So what would they do? They don't want to tip people off and keep strong walls in XRP and push the price high while they're accumulating. They want to accumulate across a variety of assets until they have their, you know, their bags full, and then they'll allow price to go upwards. The market does play a part in that, but I think a big reason we never dropped below 2.7, although it was a liquidity wall, is because that would have killed retail sentiment and trading sentiment. Um, and I don't think they're ready to do that yet. I think they want to keep everyone in right now so that they can push it higher later after absorbing enough inventory. And they do that by spreading their orders across multiple assets so that XRP looks like it's chopping sideways, maybe went a little lower, but they moved over to other coins like Dogecoin and they added liquidity to other coins. So as far as XRP, we're getting our breakout, we're getting a back test. We're going to see if we pull back in this funnel here. We still haven't got an official breakout yet, and that shows on the XRP BTC. So we're still waiting on this chart here. We're still waiting. It's actually quite a large chart, so let me go to the 4 hour to make it easier for everyone. So we're still waiting on this breakout here. You know, we've gotten higher lows, so that shows price compression. And we didn't roll over here. We got to move back into the safety of this funnel, and we're setting up to see if we want to break this level, this high right here. And that's where a lot of resting orders sit, 2773. If price were to break that, I would expect it goes with momentum, and that's the start of the breakout. But as you can see here, we're still in indecision, and this is where orders can be accumulated and liquidity can be squared away. So I wouldn't be surprised if we came down and squared away this September 6th low liquidity zone before we went. But either way, it is possible we get a break of this high. And I believe that as of right now, we're watching 2501 and it's still held. And these are the ways that markets build at the bases of what potentially could be a parabola. So I'm going to go over to the heat maps so you guys can see real quick. And we're just going to take a look here. Here's a snapshot I just took right now. So as you can see for XRP, it was a small move up. You know, we're really fighting around this $3 level. But you can see up here that the books are fairly thin, which creates a price gap, a vacuum of sorts, where it would be easier to push price up. There's a lot of buy orders coming here. Look, these two order stacks right here, 305 and 357, they're split. So it doesn't give the appearance to the normal candlesticks in the market that that's the exact level. You know, it's split and they're refreshing orders underneath the price. There's not as many orders above the price. And if we chew through a couple of these, then you can get sucked into this vacuum and go straight up to 3.3 before, okay, 3.2 before you have your next major resistance of 701, 701,000 XRP. So that's the way the game works. You know, we're in this middle area, and if there's accumulation going on, which it looked like because we bounced hard off 2.7, accumulation absorption at 2.8, and then now we're in the middle of 3, indecision area. So the market's going to reflect what we all feel, right? And nobody's sure yet that there's a breakout coming, but positioning is happening, like breath opening, where market makers are putting liquidity in other assets so they can get higher exposure and not tip anyone's hand yet about XRP or these other consolidations until they're fully ready to let this thing go. So that's pretty much where we're at. And we're going to go real quick to Litecoin because I've been watching the structure. It's a little bit messy here. Why don't I just take the drawings off? But you could see here on Litecoin, we're getting somewhat of a head and shoulders here. I would have liked to see us surpass this high on Litecoin of 122.26. I would have loved that. but we just barely didn't make it there. 120.79. The structure is still intact, and the neckline would be at the lower point here of 106.49. So we're gonna see even earlier if this head and shoulders on Litecoin is invalidated, and it's possible that we get parabolic action, which is higher lows, still in a zigzag, right? But we're gonna see if we can get a breakout on this news. But we'll be watching. Does price come down here and then start trading at 106.34, ready for a daily close below that level? Then that would signal a trigger of this pattern. But as of right now, it's possible that we invalidate this head and shoulders before anything on Litecoin. So this is a good time. This is a good time to watch. And we have a lot of volatility coming up, and you best believe that people with lots of money and people who control the order books in these markets are getting positioned for that. So we're going to see which way it goes. And either way, even if we get a sell-off on XRP down, this isn't XRP, but even if we get a sell-off on XRP down, we potentially still could keep this low where they're accumulating at 2.8 and 2.7 reflected on the heat map, not take this low, just come down to this area right here of 2.8, maybe fill a couple more orders on high volatility, and then run. So it looks as though positioning is getting ready for an upside move here, and there is a vacuum to the top side of orders for XRP. So I'm super excited, guys. This is going to be a big week, so we're going to be watching, and everything is still going according to plan. And XRP held this bottom. XRP held this bottom right here of 2.7. So that's the good news. That's where we got a pivot point. We didn't just roll over. And now we're in a neutral zone, which reflects market sentiment. And we still haven't got a breakout. We're still waiting for it. But it's even more possible now after XRP has recovered this far and shown signs of a potential breakout. So we're going to see what we get coming next. I know I'm excited, and I hope everyone has a wonderful day, and thank you.